Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you virtually and to have a chance to speak with you today about the most exciting, the most consuming, the most overwhelming and exhilarating project of the last year that we think also helped make a real difference on the global COVID-19 response. First, though, a little bit about us. I'm Rajesh Mirchandani, and I'm the Chief Communications Officer for the UN Foundation. And the Foundation is an independent charitable organization created to be a strategic partner for the United Nations to address humanity's greatest challenges, build initiatives across sectors to solve problems at scale, and to help the UN drive global progress. We've been doing this for more than 20 years. In that time, we've driven advocacy, progress, and awareness on key issues: disease eradication and global health security, gender equality, the burgeoning climate crisis, and the thing that links them all, the need for more and better global cooperation to solve the toughest challenges the world faces and create a better world for everyone. The starting point for us is that the world has a shared future, and our shared future is not a choice. We have no choice but to cooperate to solve the challenges we face, from climate change to COVID-19 and all points in between. And if anything taught us that, it's been the pandemic, because we don't defeat it anywhere if we don't defeat it everywhere. That's one of the reasons that the World Health Organization came to us in late February 2020 to help build momentum and support for its role in leading and coordinating global efforts to prevent, detect, and respond to the pandemic. It was an effort that together raised almost $250 million from more than 600,000 people and organizations across the world. We're going to get into a conversation with a couple of key players in the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund project. But first, let's just play a little video and give you a little taste of what we were trying to do. So that was the video with which we launched the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund in March 2020. And the UN Foundation's work on the fund was led by Kate Dodson, our Vice President for Global Health, who joins me now. Kate, it's great to see you.
Rajesh, wonderful to be with you too.
Now, we'll get into the kind of specifics of what we think that the fund work actually achieved in a second. But first of all, what do you think were the unique characteristics of the UN Foundation that allowed us, helped us to be successful in this effort?
Well, Rajesh, you already kind of noted that the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund was a novel experiment. This had never been tried before at scale. And this is against a novel pandemic, right? We all were reeling in February and March of 2020, trying to figure out ways to respond. WHO quickly picked up the phone and called us and said, a pandemic like this needs a solution like the UN Foundation. We, as a 20-year organization with a strong partnership and work with WHO, we had the ability and the kind of capacity to help step up. We re-geared with flexibility, with agility, put the teams in place, the infrastructure in place, the communities in place to start rapidly mobilizing resources and ensure that we did our utmost to account for their full use in kind of the charitable purposes that we outlined for the fund.
I certainly remember that when we pivoted to work solely on the fund, we kind of dragged people off different projects and just created this kind of giant team that just said, okay, you need to do this. And that was just, I think, a sign of the agility and flexibility of the foundation. And I think also,
and we did that in 2 weeks, right, Rajesh? That was really remarkable how quickly we could bring it all together.
You and I certainly remember those 2 weeks, I'm sure. And also, I think it's an example of the unique relationship that we have with the UN, which allows us, amongst other things, to directly help other people directly fund the UN. And the close relationship we built up over the last 20 years means that we have the partnerships that are most needed and most useful.
That's right. We've done work with the World Health Organization, as you already mentioned, on disease eradication, on health security issues. We helped them mobilize resources from civil society, private sector, and others in our past. And this scale of the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund was truly unprecedented, but it was built on the bedrock of that trustful relationship. And as we already talked about, UNF's ability to nimbly respond and engage, even while we were all turning into a fully remote context. And juggling all of that entailed, we were able to kind of stand this up quickly in solidarity with partners around the world.
Yeah, and the result, as I said in the introduction, was overwhelming. More than $242 million raised from over 660,000 individuals, corporations, philanthropies, and organizations all over the world. What did those funds help achieve?
Well, first, I just want to reinforce how humbled we have been about this incredible outpouring of generosity from our global community of fund donors. We had gifts ranging from a few rupees to $10 million from more than 190 countries. It's a testament to global solidarity, rising up in difficult time in a spirit of true togetherness. It's also a testament to the vital role that WHO has played and continues to play in fighting back against this pandemic. The fund's resources have been put to immensely important use. Close to 300 million pieces of personal protective equipment have gone to frontline health workers in more than 160 countries, and tens of millions of tests to more than 130 countries. The fund also seeded really important research work in the spring and summer, a global research study on therapeutics, a global study on antibody response, early research and development on vaccines, including some of the very vaccines that are being put to use now. We also gave funding to UNICEF and UNHCR to protect the most vulnerable communities, including refugees and people living in conflict. Clearly, though, there's still much of the pandemic ahead of us, and the fund continues to raise and deploy resources to support WHO's vital role.
Yeah, I was certainly overwhelmed at seeing the response. I know you were. Thanks, Kate. I'm going to ask you to stay there because in a moment, we're going to talk to one of the key partners for us in the fund project. But first, I want to give viewers just a chance to share with us what solidarity can look like.
With coronavirus hospitalizations,
coronavirus is now spreading
Together with the United Nations Foundation and the Swiss Philanthropy Foundation, WHO is today launching the Covid19 Solidarity Response Fund.
That was just a flavor of the support we saw from more than the 600,000 people and individuals and philanthropies and organizations around the world that donated money, expertise, and time to to the COVID-19 Solidarity Response Fund project. One of our most novel partnerships was with the social content platform Tiltify for what we call a streamathon event called Hope from Home. We actually joined forces with a couple of other charitable organizations as well as Tiltify to put on this event on World Health Day in April of last year. And to reflect a little bit on it, we're joined by Robyn Mendez, who's the Vice President for Marketing for Tiltify. Robyn, great to have you with us. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Rajesh. We're happy to join you guys.
Robyn, Tiltify really rose to the challenge, as did so many other partners, by helping us build a first of its kind, multi-platform digital fundraising event called Hope from Home. I remember when we launched it, we weren't even sure what was going to happen on the day because it was so new. What do you think was unique about it for you guys and that helped with the success of the collaboration?
So I think Hope from Home was unique in many ways. I think when we brought together multiple charities in a very, very short amount of time to organize such a large event, that's novel in itself, that everyone came to the table, egos checked, really focused on how do we solve these problems. You know, COVID-19 was impacting all of us in interesting and unique ways. And so we really felt like this was what we could help contribute to solving these problems. Obviously, as a tech company, we have experience with how to engage folks on social media and how to help with working with influencers and content creators to help kind of bring the army together to make change happen. So it was really an honor, and it was exciting to kind of watch it come together as quickly as it did.
And I just remember seeing that you had all those content creators creating content at the same time on their own channels, reaching their own audiences in authentic ways, which is the thing that made it unique for us and why I said that we just didn't know what was going to happen on the day. But what did happen was there's this huge outpouring of support from around the world. I remember seeing the constant stream of comments and people just donating $1, as little or as much as they could afford, because they wanted to be part of the global response, because they understood that we only solve this if we solve it everywhere. Kate Dodson, you were actually part of the Streamathon. You took part, you were interviewed on it by, I think, the Hollywood actor Rainn Wilson, no less. So what was the experience like for you?
That's right. I had such a lovely conversation with Rainn Wilson on his Instagram live feed as part of Soul Pancake. And as you said, it was one of multiple conversations going on at the same time. What really struck me in that conversation was we talked a lot about the uniqueness of that moment. And we wound up talking about the difference between the concept of social distancing and physical distancing, right? Social distancing makes one feel disconnected from their community. And really what the public health guidance was about physical distancing, but staying emotionally and virtually connected with your family and with your community. And those messages of kind of, we're in it together, we can work through this together. There are both financial and non-financial means that we can support and lift each other up, really resonated throughout Hope from Home. And it was a privilege to be a part of it.
And then Robyn and Kate, both of you, I wonder if you have thoughts on, what did you learn about, what did our organizations learn about building effective, authentic partnerships that you'd recommend to others, certainly others in the philanthropy space, to take forward? Robyn, you first.
So I think timeliness is really important. I think this campaign happened at a moment where so many people were feeling disenfranchised and scared, frankly. The idea of a global pandemic is nerve-wracking. Being told not to leave your house is scary. And so I think in terms of the ability of all of those involved to quickly pivot to make this thing happen in this moment where people were feeling disenfranchised was really part of what made it so magical. We met the universe of people in this world in this moment where they were scared, and we helped bring them hope. I know we call the campaign Hope from Home, but I think there's a lot of truth and accuracy in that.
And Kate, what do you think working with Tiltify and other partners taught us about innovative partnerships?
The whole Solidarity Response Fund, including the great partnership we've had with Tiltify, have taught us so much about what novel philanthropy really looks like in this age, and especially in a fully virtual age that we've been in. I've been in my space working on these issues in global health for close to 20 years, and I've never seen gamers come into feeling a sense of solidarity and contributing and raising funds NFL football stars, musicians doing virtual concerts, powered by a strong backend like Tiltify, powered by other partners that came around the Solidarity Response Fund. People felt like a sense of ownership, like they could contribute in the midst of all the kind of uncertainty that Robyn was just talking about. And they felt like the solutions were in their hands to be able to do that. And I think that was the real power of the Solidarity Response Fund.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. It was the idea of people coming together around a huge problem, thinking, right, what's my part? How can I plug in? How can I plug in? How can I plug in? And making something much greater than the sum of their parts. Thanks to both my guests, Robyn Mendez from Tiltify and Kate Dodson, my colleague here at the UN Foundation. They both reminded us that more and better global cooperation that is more inclusive of different perspectives is the only way that we can address the challenges of our world now and in the future. Thanks to you for tuning in to Talking Philanthropy and to Global Philanthropic for bringing us all together here in this virtual space. We'd love to talk with you some more, so please do get in touch. Thank you.